Hey everybody, this is David S. He, him pronouns, and this is session 7 of Hearts of Wulin, Silk and Steam, a silk punk take on the quarterly rule set for Hearts of Wulin. This is the second to last session, so a lot to get done. Let's do a quick review of characters and players, and we will get going from there. So, Brandon, would you care to go first?
Certainly. Hi, I'm Brandon. I am playing Golden Twilight. She, who is the heir to the Iron Throne of Sunshine, and but who is conflicted about her role. She is very young to have such responsibility put on her shoulders, and she has great sympathy with the downtrodden, but still loyalty to the imperial throne that comes with having been adopted by them many years ago. She has an alter ego, the rapscallion Silver Willow, devil-may-care young woman who drinks too much and gets into bar fights and does all the terrible things that a proper lady like Golden Twilight could never dream of doing. And in that way allows her to cope with the stresses of the court and feeling that she has a target painted on her back. And that everyone who interacts with her, whether they for good or bad or have ulterior motives. So at present, she is trying to deal with various and sundry rumors, has tried to moderate the throne's reaction to the Shua rebellion, to punish only those who were true instigators rather than decimate the country. At the same time, her alter ego, Silver Willow, has been fingered by Ninth Raven, trying to save her own skin. And so, unbeknownst to her, there's an arrest warrant out that her sort of the person she calls her uncle, Crimson Mountain, the captain of the guard, has people out looking for her to arrest her. And I look forward to seeing what happens.
Awesome. Jose?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name's Jose, and my pronouns are he and him. And I am playing Lei Zhelan, whose pronouns are also he, him. He is ostensibly a gardener in the palace courts of Jianxing. He's originally from Muya, the province of bamboo and silk. Unbeknownst to most, he is an agent of the Silken Thread, a revolutionary sect that works behind the scenes to mysterious ends, but somehow to part of their goal is to undermine the rule of the Lord of Iron. And in particular, recently they've become very interested in the succession of the Lord of Iron and the heir of the Lord of Iron, and are attempting to manipulate that process from behind the scenes. And Lei Zhelan is part of that. Inadvertently, he has gotten caught up in this drama of succession by dropping into a forced engagement somehow, I would call it, an arranged engagement with Golden Twilight. But it's not Lei Zhelan, actually, I'm sorry, who has gotten into this engagement. It's his alter ego, his kind of cover identity when he's moving in the more upper echelons of the court, and that is the diplomat Wu Lixin. So Wu Lixin has been betrothed to Golden Twilight, and Golden Twilight and he are kind of in this unsteady alliance, trying to figure out how they survive this particular betrothal and what it means for them politically within the court. Last time we saw Lei Zhelan, he was reacting to the appearance of his old friend from Muya, Yin Tiankong, who had come to visit. And he was happy to see him, even though he felt a little slighted by not being told or greeted earlier on in the visit. But he also came into some knowledge at the very end of last session, if I'm not mistaken, by overhearing a conversation between Yin Tiankong and Copper Moon, I believe the conversation was, right? And where Yin Tiankong was, what's the polite term for it? Arranging a liaison, a meeting, a rendezvous, arranging a rendezvous between Meng Lin and Copper Moon, or attempting to arrange a rendezvous. So that revealed to Lei Zhelan that Yin Tiankong has been looking after Mei Ling after Lei Zhelan himself had poisoned her on the orders of the Silken Thread to get her out of the way and away from Copper Moon. So part of today will be, how is Lei Zhelan processing that information and how does he act upon it? That's what I know right now.
Awesome. Okay, and last but not least, Kevin.
Hi, I'm Kevin. Pronouns he, him. I'm playing Yin Tiankong. Pronouns also he, him. Yin, or Tiankong, is a healer from the reclusive House of Venom. Which is situated in an idyllic valley in Muya. He came to the capital on orders from his master, Purple Viper, to heal his patient, Meng Lin, who was poisoned by Lei Zhelan. And her request to him was to try to get Copper Moon just to see her. We don't know why, but she's bedridden, and though she is being kept alive by his talents, we don't know what her connection. We know that she was a previous lover to Copper Moon, but we don't know why Copper Moon refuses to see her or why she wants to see him. Well, that part might be obvious, but Yin Tiankong is a healer. Despite the name, the House of Venom, he's a physician and wants to use his knowledge of herbs and the body to heal people. But despite all of that, he is still quietly supportive of the revolution or the revolutionary movements to dethrone or usurp the Lord of Iron. And he is old friends with Lei Zhelan. And that just makes things complicated.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's, with that being said, go ahead and get started with some scenes. So some things come to mind on my end. There is the rendezvous between Copper Moon and Meng, I think. That could be interesting to play out and could bring Yin Tiankong and Lei Zhelan together, depending on how you guys want to play it. I know also that Golden Twilight, you also have some interaction with Yin Tiankong you'd like to do, but I'm curious, does anyone have any scene they definitely want to make sure that we prioritize or call first?
Just to review, I just want to make sure I had it right. The conversation that Yin Tiankong and Copper Moon had, it ended with, I know Copper Moon kind of scuttled away or hurried away, but did he agree to have the rendezvous?
It was a missed roll, and I on my part, and I seem to recall that something about Yin Tiankong's mere suggestion offended Copper Moon.
Right. That's right. He said never mention her again, something to that effect. Yeah. That's correct. Okay. No, thank you for bringing that up, Jose.
I couldn't remember, actually.
No, that's fair. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks.
So that doesn't mean there's not going to be fallout, or there's not going to be some kind of, but ostensibly on the surface, Copper Moon has shunned the invitation.
If nothing else, he knows now that Meng Lin is in the city and wishes to see him.
That is true.
He can do that with that information what he will, although I hope he does not send assassins. That would be unfortunate.
Golden Twilight, is there anything that you want to do?
I'd like Silver Willow and Yin Tiankong to have a proper conversation. And if you can't think of an introduction, Kevin, I can.
I do not know how exactly Yin Tiankong would encounter Silver Willow on his own part. So if you have an idea.
The only way that he'd encounter her is to ask after her or try to find her. Otherwise, she's going to find him.
If she's going to come find him, well, he's the one who is entangled in her direction.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of how he would go about asking around in a city that he's unfamiliar with and doesn't have many friends in, other than Lei Zhelan, who he is afraid he has alienated.
This is this is Wuxia. Every city is a small town.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. It's large enough to get lost and small enough that rumors travel, word travels fast. Easy enough to say that, you ask around and you find out of, a bar that she likes to go to.
Sure, we can say that. Yeah. Yin probably, when he is probably eating outside the Meng compound, he might ask the bartender, so there's all these big heroes around, and what do you know about this Silver Willow? And, oh yeah, she goes and hangs out at this bar. So maybe, yeah, Yin will conveniently, after he's finished attending to Meng Lin for the day, head out for a light dinner and wine at whatever bar Silver Willow tends to frequent.
Okay, so you're having a dinner and you at a certain point you can't help but hear an argument. And you recognize one of the voices as Silver Willow.
We'll quietly continue to listen.
And she, so the other person says, but the the states warring between each other were no picnics either. I mean, the Lord of Jing may have unified them brutally, but at least he's brought stability to the thing. And she says, fuck you and fuck the Lord of Jing. And she's poking the other guy in the chest, and backing him up. Are you a paid spy? Is that what you're here for? Are you trying to cause trouble? Stir up things? Go peddle your papers. And with one thing or another, she kind of hounds him out of the bar.
And Yin will gosh, how to just casually bring up revolution.
That's a fair point. Yeah, might be dangerous.
Yeah.
And then she sits at the bar, and waves over, and the bartender pours her the tumbler of rice wine.
I guess, well, if this is if no one's getting arrested for revolutionary thoughts and revolutionary voicings,
Not in this part.
then I guess we could just approach. I guess we could just approach Silver Willow and offer to pour her wine.
Well, hello.
I couldn't help but overhear.
Aren't you awfully respectable for a place like this?
I
know. Yes, the bream is delightful. They do have a wonderful fried fish here, but still.
On the contrary, I'm not exactly familiar with these parts of town. And he'll look down at the necklace of crow's skulls hanging around his neck. I'm afraid they wouldn't particularly care too much for my sort in the imperial dining establishments. I'm just a lowly healer from Muya, after all.
Well, just because you're from a renowned clan of poisoners? She says, but she smiles when she says it. I think that's a terrible thing to hold against people.
I both Yin and myself are speechless at a bold declaration like that. How would Yin respond?
And yes, before you ask, this is my indoor voice.
I think this is actually enough to spur inner conflict, because Yin takes the reputation of the House of Venom, or at least his position in it, quite seriously, and to have a person that he is attracted to call them out as poisoners, I think he's going to hear the voice of Purple Viper in the back of his head saying it will never work out because of our cultural differences. I know it feels really early to hit inner conflict.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So what will we be rolling with?
Anything except my style element, and all my +1s are marked. This is going to go great. Gosh. I think alienating, somewhere between alienating and scattered. So actually fire with a -1. Oh no, this could not go poorly.
Nope.
So 2d6 -1. That's a 5. There's no saving that. Okay. So let me see what it is exactly that I have to do. Inner conflict. Where are we?
Says the GM makes things much worse.
Yeah. GM, how would you like to make things much more worse here?
Yeah, let me think about this. This is a tricky one. So it's the two of you at the bar at this point.
Well, David thinks. Let me ask a question. Of Kevin here. What is Yin Tiankong's reflexive reaction, given that he's not controlling himself very well?
It would. If nothing else, I think he would have to run. I think he would have to just flee and get away.
Would you run, or would you get angry, or even violent?
I think he would get violent. Reckless, alienating, and scattered. Yeah, I see him as just kind of like running off into the streets.
Okay, so
Um,
he's not gonna to get angry or say anything
no,
or
not with no,
do anything to Silverwillow.
no,
Mhm.
not certainly not anything violent.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Will you not
I-
defend your house?
uh, no, not when the attack on them is your renowned poisoners. Um, if he's gonna like drop a smooth one liner on the way out, it would be something like, "Well, I certainly hope you enjoy your unpoisoned wine," and then
And she, if you'll permit, Matt, she catches you by the front of the robe, and she says, "You won't even defend yourself against the Scarless thing I just said. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm telling I'm mad that I've insulted your heritage, that I've wounded your family's pride. Say something."
there are a chorus of voices out there who would sing a different song, and my voice is but one of them. It is a drop in an ocean, and one drop cannot spoil an ocean like that. I could tell you anything you want to hear, but there is no reason for you to believe that. It is exactly as you perceive. My house is known for being, for having poisoned kings
Yes,
and princes and princesses. None are beyond our reach.
yes, everyone knows this,
And
but you're
you
not.
would never
But you are.
understand. And like,
Make me, make me
absolutely,
try or don't.
if if she is going to restrain Yin, then at this point it is going to become violent in the sense that Yin is going to try and break her grip and flee.
So Silver Willow, what do you think? And Yin Tiankong, I'm going to take that hard move and I'm going to save it for a little bit.
Okay.
But you do get 2 XP if you didn't mark it already.
Oh, I did not.
I say,
Let's do that.
I know you're a physician. I saw you come here with your patient, who you obviously care for. But you have to have but you're right.
Nope, nope. We're trying to break a grip now. We're going.
Okay, if you're simply going to flee, then I'll let you go.
And like just to add like insult to injury, like to make this really kind of feel a little bit more like a miss, like it's got to be pouring rain outside. Like
Sure.
going out into the streets without an umbrella. Maybe he even like had an umbrella on the walk here and like just leaves it and just runs
Awesome.
out into the street like and it's a long walk back to the where he's staying at the Meng compound.
So you were going back to the Meng compound.
I would they give their physician quarters or would he have an inn nearby? I think it might be more fun to say he has an inn nearby. Um, something very small and Spartan, but close
Mhm.
enough that if they need to send a runner, it won't take long for him to get there.
Absolutely. We'll come back to you in just a minute. I have an idea already going off of that. So, Lei Zhelan, how's it going?
How is it going for Lei Zhelan? I think his first impulse is not to confront his friend immediately. um, uh, um, um, I think maybe Lei Zhelan, I would like to somehow have a scene with Mei Ling. Um, I think Lei Zhelan is going to try to find out what she's up to, why
Okay.
she's trying to connect with Copper Moon, and so I'm trying to imagine how he would go about getting access to that compound. Um, uh, so the Meng family, what do we know about them?
They're merchants, if I
Yeah.
recall correctly.
Merchants of some
They're not
sort.
noble, but they're
Yeah.
large. They're rich enough to have their own compound.
Right.
Right.
Wealthy merchant class kinds of people.
Maybe Lei Zhelan um, we established a while back that Lei Zhelan did have a little bit of notoriety around his gardening abilities within the palace, and I'm wondering whether he knows the main gardener, or he finds out the main gardener at the Gold kind of a consult, because that gardener wants to know. I can give him a name. What what's going on? What's the latest in the landscaping at the palace? And so
Mhm.
somehow Lei Zhelan has gotten into the compound that way. We could do a roll, and we can also play it out if that would be fun, or we could just establish it that he's somehow in the gardens of the Meng compound. When I'm just trying to set up a scene somehow.
Certainly. I'm thinking that if you wanted to enter the compound, you would need to present yourself formally, unless you wanted to sneak.
Sneak.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I think he would try to not sneak into the compound to talk to her, but try to have some reason to be there, and then have a conversation with her.
Got it. Got
Since
it.
I'm assuming that she does not know who poisoned her. She does, and that so it's not like she knows. Oh, that's Lei Zhelan. He poisoned me back then.
No, of
I
course
think
not.
she doesn't know if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you can probably make a formal presentation, and they'd be happy to admit you. I think they have no reason to distrust you, and you are employed in part by the royal family. So, let's say that you're meeting with Meng, and she is seated across from you. There is a servant who has poured a hot tea for the two of you, and you're otherwise kneeling across the table from one another. And yeah, I mean, there's really probably not much in the way of guards here. It's a humble compound, but a fancy one at the same time. Um, how do you start the conversation, or what is it that you want to say to her? She looks ill, but on the mend at least.
Mm-hmm. So I think what I want to say. So I think he's been having a conversation with the gardeners and the landscapers of the Meng estate, and he's ostensibly on his way out when he comes across Meng Lin, although he's been vying for an opportunity. And so then he says, "My lady, Meng Lin, is it not?"
That is my name, yes. Um, and you are Lei Zhelan, I understand.
Yes, it's been almost 2 years since I see you in the capital city. Has all been well with you?
Um, I've been rather ill these last years, but I'm doing better. I've been under good care, and have a physician that my family has been so kind as to employ. So I'm doing well. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
And what brings you back to the city?
It's my home, and I'm doing well enough to be back. So it's only right that I come to assist my family. And
Oh, my dear, have some more tea.
mm,
Yes.
I'm gonna retcon something here. It's not
Okay.
it's not a servant that brings the tea out. It's a terracotta automaton that kind of comes out
Oh, perfect.
and pours the tea. But yes,
I like it.
the automaton will come back out and pour more tea, and she'll raise a hand and tell you it's okay. Please, don't worry for me. My constitution has just been impacted since my first falling ill some years ago, but it'll be okay. It's just a chronic thing. I've learned to adapt.
Oh, my dear, I hope you do feel better soon. It hasn't been the same at court without you. You were quite popular when you were there 2 years ago. I thought you may have even had the eye of our Lord Copper Moon.
I
Not
am
to be presumptuous.
uh or would you like to make a study move here to read how she reacts to this, or is this
Yeah,
more
let
of
me
a
just take a
just kind of okay, sure,
let me
sure,
take a
sure.
quick look at the moves for a second. I hadn't gone to the mechanics yet. Um, it could be a study move. I think what the intent is here, I think he's trying to win her confidence and get her to spill something about why she really is back. So maybe it is a study move, or it could be hearts and minds, but maybe study works
Yeah.
better.
Well, I mean, study is going to tell you a little bit more about her internal reaction to what you say. And you might be able to
Right.
infer from her, facial expressions and things, maybe whether she's hiding things from you, or maybe if the name Copper Moon really seems to really strike a nerve with her. If you want her to say something to you more overtly, or to say that she trusts you, then that would be more of like a hearts and minds thing, I think.
Let's just go with study for now.
Okay.
And I guess with study, um, I have to pick a.
Yes, if you would be so kind as to pick an element.
Let's see, which one makes sense? I'm gonna go ahead with let's see, awareness, control, caution, maybe just patience with her and curiosity, but really patience. So I'll take wood, and that'll be a +2. Where am I? All right, let's see what it says. Oh wow, that's a 13.
Oh, good.
So on a hit, what does it say?
And does your vigilantes and mask move apply here?
I don't. Doesn't it say that it has to be a formal setting?
Formal or official setting. I suppose this is more of a informal meeting at one's
Informal
home
meeting.
and less of a court thing, but okay.
Yeah, yeah, less of a court thing. Yeah, I think I just kind of
Well, you still get two hold off of this, I
who
think.
holds on. Okay.
Yep. Basic information that you'll just get on the hit already is going to be that yes, the name Copper Moon seems to really strike a nerve with her. Her eyes widen, she catches her breath, her pulse seems to quicken. And actually, what I would like to do here is I'm gonna cut back and forth between you and Yin Tiankong, kind of rapid back and forth, back and forth. So we'll come back to you. Yin Tiankong, can you describe what your inn looks like? Is it a room, or is it kind of a suite that you have, or can you describe kind of what it looks like on the interior?
Very small room. Yin wouldn't want something big and spacious. A bed, a small table, just enough for uh, three places 4, but 3 comfortably, and enough room for like a tea set, a small dresser. Most of the drawers are where he probably keeps a few changes of clothes and a few like spare herbs, and his physician's kit, and like some burning incense,
Mm-hmm.
um, and like one decorative plant in the corner. There's one window. There are bead curtains over it.
Yeah.
And the door.
Got it. So it's kind of like a one room thing, did you say? I might have missed that part.
Yeah, just a one room. Yeah,
Mm.
one bed, one room. He's uh yeah, just one I think they would call it like a basic room in the inn, not a suite.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna hard frame something here.
Mhm.
Um, so let's just take a quick look here. I want to double check the character keeper. Um, okay. Um, so you're gonna get into your room. And the I'll say that it's dark. Night has arrived and it's pouring rain. You walk in, still dripping from the downpour and the absence of an umbrella. Closing the door behind you, we'll say that you go to perhaps light a lantern. And as you do so, you're going to catch a dart in your chest. There is a black robed figure illuminated only by the orange glow of the lamp, who has been waiting in the corner for some time. As you stagger backward, bracing yourself against the wall facing this dark figure, you are going to hear them growl, "Stay away from Meng." And they draw a sword and come at you. What do you do?
Uh
Oh, and please also mark an element for the dart.
Mark an element for the dart. Well, I think fire seems most appropriate for what has been going on. And I'm also running out of other
Yes.
other elements to mark. Um, as for what we're going to do, well, I think it's about time we show them our river dance. Um, we're going to kick the table at them and then follow it up. Grab. Are they armed?
Yes, they've drawn a Jian, Jian. It's
Mhm.
this is it's kind of a long sword essentially. It's got a
Yeah.
tassel at the end. This one's very decorative and ornamental, very flashy.
Um, so this certainly seems pretty lethal. So I think we will go ahead and uh in the spare few seconds that kicking a table at them will gain us, we will go over to our physician's kit and bring out um what first just looks like a baton, maybe 7-8 inches long of metal. And when they come at us with a sword, we are going to parry the first blow with that, and try and do this and try and fight back with our fan of blades.
Okay. We'll cut back to Lei Zhelan here. Do you have a hold that you want to spend here?
Yes, I have a question, and then I have a detail
Mhm.
that I want to declare. I'm not sure which. Let's ask the question first. So the question that is on Lei Zhelan's mind is, what would motivate Mei Lang to return to the city where she is in obvious danger? She was almost killed last time, and to try to meet with Copper Moon. So is it love? Is it protectiveness? Is it scheming? Is it so? What it when she hears the word Copper Moon, Lei is examining her face. the rain has begun to fall around the pavilion in the garden, and she hesitates. And what does Lei Zhelan read in Mei Ling's face?
It's a love thing.
That there's love. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
She is every bit
And then
the naive, I'll stick my neck out and put myself into danger for the person I love kind of trope. And well, no, I don't want to give too much away. I'll just stop there. Do you have a second hold that you want to spend, or do you want to wait on that for a second?
Now I'm rethinking my detail.
Ooh, okay.
It contradicts what you said a little bit, or it just complicates what you said. I'll hold it for now. And I think we just see Lei Zhelan smile, and he says in a soft voice, "I can see you have feelings for Copper Moon still. It's hard to be so connected to someone in the middle of so much court intrigue. The succession is quite contentious right now in the palace. My dear, you should be careful. There are forces at work here that might be dangerous for you. I know the young like to follow their heart, but please show caution as well." And I don't know if I'm trying to hearts and minds her now.
Is there a specific thing you want to see happen for her, or that you want her to do, or an attitude you wish that she adopts?
Maybe I'm trying to scare her.
Okay. I think that would be a good hearts and minds kind of thing.
Yeah.
What would you like to roll with for that?
What would I roll to try to scare her? Let's see. It'll be something. I guess I'm looking at the Earth one, uncaring, disdainful. I'm trying to show an image of the court as deadly somehow to her, and not caring for her well-being at all.
Okay.
All right. So then I roll. It's a 7.
Okay.
So on hearts and minds with a 7, what happens? It goes. Ooh, okay. For NPCs, it's complicated.
Right. I think we're going to aim for a hesitate here.
Makes sense.
So you take +1 ongoing, my goodness, against Meng until there is a major change with them in the fiction. And I think that her voice begins to quaver a little bit. And she says, almost trying to convince herself more than convince you, she says, "But I'm not worried. My physician will protect me." And we'll cut back to Yin Tiankong.
There's a rumble of thunder in the background as she says that.
Yin Tiankong, your assailant is pushed back against the opposing wall by the table. There's a crash as the contents scatter across the ground. They brace themselves, reposition themselves, and for a moment it looks as though they're about to make a lunging thrust across the room, the sort that you'd have to take a couple extra steps on air in wuxia battle to do. And instead, at the last minute, they produce from their sleeve a throwing dagger and hurl it directly at your head. It slices through the air, thuds into the wall just behind you. You're just able to move your face at the right time, and then they come at you saying something to the effect of, You think that a tribe of common poisoners should be the ones to be put in charge of Meng? You probably you probably poisoned her yourself. What do you do?
After we duck to the side and the dagger like lodges itself um in the wall behind, um when we see they're going to come at us, we're going to reach back with our offhand and grab the dagger and throw it back at them. um Hopefully that will make them sort of hesitate, or at least divert them off to the side. And we're going to try and fight for a more advantageous position. We can't keep letting them throw daggers at us. um but also I might have something in my physician's kit that could help here. Maybe some kind of like stunning, you know stunning or debilitating agitating poison, something cloudy, for emergencies. So I think we're going to try and actually negotiate our way around them. Flow like water. If they're going to come in and lunge at us, then we'll sidestep and flow around them, let the parry carry us over back to our physician bag, and then reach in and grab something. Go, I can throw something too. And sort of like pocket sand, but what comes out of the bag is like this violet mist that they have to walk through. Or if this is a small, cramped little in room, they might not be able to get around it.
Got it. I think you hurl this mist, and it clouds their vision such that they make this wide, wild, inaccurate sweep with the sword, and it crashes downward, slicing past you into the lantern that you lit. It's going to clatter to the floor with a smash, and of course, this begins a fire in your room.
Oh boy. Well, I'm soaking wet. They're probably not. So I might have a few more seconds, but at the same time, um, we both have to get out of here now. Uh,
Let's pause and go to
yeah.
Lei Zhelan for a second. She just said, "Oh, but Yin Tiankong will protect me." Or, well, she didn't say his name, but said, "My physician will." You still have one hold. Is there anything you'd like to do or anything you'd like to say?
I think I'm going to declare a detail.
Okay.
I think Lei Zhelan notices a piece of jewelry that Meng Lin is wearing around her neck. And he recognizes it as just like a silken cord, very simple. It's not like a gaudy piece of jewelry, a chain or something. It's just a red silken cord, and on it is hanging a pendant with a symbol that Lei Zhelan recognizes. And it is a particular symbol that denotes someone. How do I say this? I'm not sure how to, maybe you guys can help me. That has a very strong karmic impact on fate, like someone who's like a linchpin, a fate linchpin, that things swirl around, and that what happens to that person somehow has broad ramifications for grand events, even though the person may be humble or seem insignificant. I guess that's more than a detail.
No, that works.
But
Yeah.
But does that work for you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to have that.
Yeah, and I think and then also we see a quick flashback to Meng Lin, telling him that the oracles of Silken Thread have predicted that if Meng Lin stays in connection with Copper Moon, there will be devastating war in the country, yeah, and so Lei Zhelan stops there. So that's the thing I'll declare. And so she's just said that my physician will protect me. Thunder has rolled in the background, and Lei Zhelan reaches out and touches her hand and says, "A physician of great word, but protect you in this city full of vipers may be beyond his power. Take good care, and please do send him my regards. We're old friends, he and I." And he squeezes her hand, and then he walks out into the rain of the garden with a bow and leaves. And he might be actually heading over to see his friend now, but we'll see. We can cut away from him now.
Yes,
that works.
you faintly hear in the distance someone calling fire, fire. And Yin Tiankong, I know that you have to be getting out of here soon. However, if you make any lunge for the door, I think that your assailant is going to extend the sword, and I think they say, "This is where you halt, Yin Tiankong. We end this now." And they prepare to make a decisive thrust with their sword directly into your heart. If you're able to parry and dodge this, you will be able to respond with an attack of your own. Otherwise, this could be very, very bad for you. So is there any last thing you would like to say, a pithy one-liner or anything like that before we roll duel?
No, when he makes his definitive, there's usually like a sort of energy that gets taken. You can see it in their eyes when they're going for a decisive strike. And so I think what Yin is going to do is stand up straight and actually hold the fan in front of his chest and open it. He's been fighting with it closed this whole time, but now we actually get to see the thin, flexible blades, almost like a peacock feather on a peacock tail unfolding. Just these like metal blades side by side come unfurling. And we don't say anything. We're just going to let him make that strike. Not as in let him connect, but let him make the attempt.
Right. Okay, you are going to use your style element, which is a +3. So you have that going for you.
All right. 2d6 +3. That's a 10.
Okay, they are at your scale. So you can choose essentially how you want to play this. You may mark XP if you show mercy. You can kill this person. You ultimately have the call over how you want to make this work.
We will show mercy. So because they are probably still a little blinded and their eyes, burning from the agitator poison that we threw at them, we kind of step slightly to the side, and the blades of the fan are flexible, and so the sword slides right neatly in between them and allows us to sort of roll the sword offline. And we're going to follow that momentum around and actually turn them. And the super short, dirty version is we throw them out of the room. Or even both of us might go together. When I have control of his weapon, we, sort of grab onto their shoulder and run with them out of the room. But I don't want to leave my physician bag in there. Well, we can always get more herbs later. I'll leave that as a sort of lingering problem. I'll have to go shopping.
I know a place.
Yeah, we'll run out with them. And I think, maybe we even have to do like a little dive through a curtain of fire. And then as we both sort of like roll and get back up to our feet, they take the opportunity to get out of dodge. Maybe they actually get fully disarmed by the Prix de Fer, the attack on the blade that we did. So it's time for them to get out of dodge, and they have the
Sure.
opportunity.
Sure, sure. So you have, when you say disarmed them, do they leave their sword behind, or how does that look exactly?
Um, yes. Yeah, I think we catch their blade in the middle of the fan blades and close the fan on it and then kind of roll. So it, pulls it out of their wrist. And I think we, flick it and send the sword like into the wall. So it does a little, up in the wall, and then grab them and then run out of the room.
Awesome. And so the two of you will part ways at that point, and you get to mark XP for showing mercy, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay. I want to cut then to Golden Twilight because you didn't really get to have much of a scene before, so I want to make sure we're focusing on you as we move towards the second half here. Anything that you want to do, maybe at this time while it's night?
Yes. Night's a very romantic time. I want to seek out Copper Moon and have a heartfelt conversation.
Very good.
Feel him out on a variety of topics.
Hey. So are you going to then kind of go straight from the tavern or bar where your conversation with Yin Tiankong took place, go back to the...
Yes. I'm leaving the bar, being unnecessarily rude to a couple of people in the process, and making my way back to the palace in time to meet up with Copper Moon.
Sure, sure.
We established it's raining, so there is one particular garden that is lovely in the rain and the twilight,
Mm-hmm.
and that has a covered over area so that you can view it, without getting damp.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah, the rain makes little rivulets, flow down sculptures that are built to catch them, and the water splashes over these and around the various plantings there as the gray light softens the colors and reduces the contrast. It's very lovely.
Yes, okay. Sure, sure. When you first arrive, you have to wait for some time. Was this a pre-arranged meeting with Copper Moon, or is this just a place where Copper Moon tends to be this time of evening, or
I think I sent a message inviting him to tea.
Okay, sure, sure. And so you do have a pre-arranged meeting here.
Yes.
And he's running late. At a certain point, he makes an appearance, maybe 15-20 minutes past the appointed time. He looks angry. Sister,
whatever is the matter?
He pulls his robes about him tighter and looks with just lightning and thunder in his eyes out across the vista. The city is illuminated every now and again by flashes of lightning.
Yeah, your countenance mirrors the weather, and not in a good way. Please have a cup of tea and tell me about it.
Sister, I'm I I I'm worried for you, he says. Your ascension to the throne, it's it's not that I don't trust our father's decision. I'm afraid that you're being set up in some way. He must be trying to ferret out some kind of traitor or something. I'm sorry. It's been dwelling on my mind.
If he is, then there's not very much I can do about that. He will have his stratagems, and he wouldn't confide that in me. But the heat of your eyes suggests to me that you know something is happening that's made you very unhappy.
Would you like to do a study move here and read him
Absolutely.
further? Because he's keeping his cards quite close to his chest at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I will study him, and I will use focus. So I have a +1 ongoing, so that is a 10.
Okay. Uh, well, the basic information is that he is lying through his teeth. This issue of, oh, I'm worried about your ascension to the throne, it's a total fabrication.
Mhm.
He's completely just made that up. So you have 2 hold if you want to do anything with those. Otherwise, that's what you have.
So I guess I would try gently to tease out what he's really involved in. So I'll spend 1 of the hold for that, but I'll do it. I'll do it conversationally.
Sure.
And I go, brother dear, I'm not delicate flower that you have to give me, that you have to tell me a story in order to protect my feelings. I would much rather know what's actually going on in your heart.
So I think that might be a hearts and
then
minds.
Well,
It,
I'm asking a question about a person, his actual desires here.
sure. Yeah, so
this is with it. I'm spending 1 of the study holds.
Spending 1 of the holds. What you can gather is that he feels he's deeply in love and feels frustrated and unable to declare the that love, that affection that he feels. And yeah, I'm trying to think of how to put it in a way that you would be able to ascertain kind of non-verbally. Um, but yeah, the gist here is that it's a having an object of affection that's been blocked from him. I think does that work for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I guess I will a matter of the heart. Those are so hard, especially when others work against you.
They always do. They always try to
Well,
keep.
why should they? Why should they do such an unjust thing? I would help you, dear brother. I would not see you as unhappy for anything.
You wouldn't understand. You are given a husband, and I am prevented from taking the object of my affection.
I've had a husband who I scarcely know announced for me, if I could give my heart, Wulishin is a fine fellow for all I know, but I scarcely know him, and I would not have given my heart to him had I had the option. But I understood when I was adopted into this family that duty would likely determine my marriage rather than love. But why should it be that way for you? Tell me, brother, who has your affection that others have tried to blight? Perhaps there is something I can do.
It's many years ago, there was a common girl that I fell in love with who was separated from me. Illness. But
So
in truth, it was no illness. It was an attempt on her life that sent her away to Muya, my own homeland, for years to recover in the more favorable clime. She's returned, but there are forces that seek to separate me from her again.
They mustn't do so. Have you spoken to her?
I haven't yet had the opportunity, though I intend to pay her a visit soon.
Let us do it now.
In this weather?
We're not. There's the rain does not damp the fires of ardor. If you love her, then she should know. If it's been a long time, how would she guess that it still burns in your heart? And I have to roll inner conflict at this point because I'm trying so very hard not to let my own feelings out.
Sure. What you gonna roll with?
Passion. You know, it's raining, right? And I have a little water on my face. A splash, you know, a droplet that's splashed onto it, which I dab away with my handkerchief. And I somehow keep the tremble out of my voice. Love should not wait. If she has returned after this time, you must tell her, let us go now. And you can make your feelings clear. I can see in your face that this is right.
You're right, he says. I've waited for 2 years. It's time. There's no need to wait longer. Let us not tarry. And he will hoist himself up and again pull his robe over his shoulders.
Yes. And I'll take my, tie my outdoor cloak, which is nearby around. And I will join him and off we go.
Okay, we're right at half past the hour, so let's take 10 here. Come back and let's see if we can maybe go to either Lei Zhelan or Yin Tiankong. I forget whose turn it is, but we'll come back at that time here in 10 minutes if that works for everybody. Okay, see people soon. Okay. So let's just see here. I keep thinking we Lei Zhelan, we mix you and Yin Tiankong's scenes back and forth so quickly. I'm not sure which one of you is supposed to call a scene next.
I have a quick little thing as we see Lei Zhelan leaving the Meng compound in the
Sure.
rain, and this wooden door closes onto the street, and it's still raining, and he walks across the way, and there's a blind beggar woman sitting, and he drops an alm in her basket. And then as he gets up from that position, he looks, and I think he sees the fire at the inn down the street where Yin Tiankong is staying. And he puts it together in his head that that's the inn where his friend is, he looks panicked and runs down the street. And I can turn it over to Kevin to let us know what he's up to in the aftermath of his ordeal.
Yeah, that works.
If the fire, because it is raining, if the fire can be controlled and stopped, then we'll join the fire brigade, help carry buckets of water and try and put out the flames as possible. If the fire is out of control and the inn is irrecoverable or unsavable, then we'll transition into getting people out and playing firefighter that way, trying to pull people out as it burns to the ground.
Yeah, I think that there is going to be, people, swarming out of the building and catching fire. Yeah, I don't think you need to make a dice roll to assist in the rescue efforts, but the inn is going to be ablaze by the time everybody gets out. But because of the rain, I don't think it's going to spread into a larger conflagration that causes more problems than that.
Then once it's clear that everyone is aside, we might even go to the innkeeper and say, is everyone accounted for? And assuming we don't have to go play hero, then actually, could I study the blaze and just make sure that there's nobody inside, listen for cries for help or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah,
Okay.
no, that works if you'd like to go ahead and roll.
Unless, okay. Or establish new facts. Okay, yeah. This is using awareness and wisdom, so I think water would actually. It's certainly risky, but that's a 12.
Okay, good deal. So you have The basic
Actually,
information I think is, or that is a 12, right?
Oh yeah. No, sorry, that's an 11.
11. Okay, yeah, same difference. So
11, sorry.
Basic information is that people who were or didn't get out on their own have been rescued. There's not gonna be a whole lot of like heroism necessary here.
Okay, fantastic. Then we'll be found by Lei Zhelan standing in front of the inn, watching our room and the rest of the building go up in flames. We're still absent of an umbrella.
Okay, and you still have 2 hold if they do apply and you can or want to use them. That's totally an option too. But yes, we can certainly say that Lei Zhelan, you arrive kind of around this point.
It's
And I think we see Yin Tiankong is sitting on a somewhere, catching his breath, and Lei Zhelan runs up to him and says, "My friend, what has happened here? Are you all right?" And he starts looking you over, and I think you're not looking so great, Yin Tiankong. You may have, I don't know, you may have some burns, you may have some cuts out of mark, don't you?
Unmarked elements at this point in time. Yin is, for lack of better words, a hot mess. But I think, well, no, metal's marked, so I don't even think he really particularly looks like cool and composed. Yeah, I think he's definitely a little disheveled. He's got black marks of ash along his arms, face. Maybe some of his robe have been cut. He's lacking his physician bag that he always keeps with him. We are going to try and play it off and just say, somebody clumsily must have tipped over one of the lanterns, and silk curtains, the whole thing caught ablaze.
And Lei Zhelan looks around suspiciously at the fires. Looks like it's somewhat under control now. Still kind of smoking now in the rain. And Lei Zhelan turns to his friend. So purely accidental, my friend, right?
I wasn't there to witness the onset of the blaze, so I cannot say whether or not it was arson. It does seem a little convenient to be coincidental.
Lei Zhelan grabs you by the sleeve and says, "We need to treat your injuries. Your bag, where is it?"
It was in my room. I'm afraid I had to leave so quickly that I couldn't grab it in time.
Come with me across the street. There is the apothecary I told you about. I know the way in, where the key is hidden. Come, we'll treat your wounds.
And we'll go with him.
And then I guess we see them enter the back door of this kind of dark apothecary. And there's still some, light coming from the street of some of the flames and some of the voices, but die down as we get inside. And it's quieter and darker. And Lei Zhelan goes around pulling some jars of herbs down and gets a mortar and pestle and starts making a poultice for his friend's wounds. And I think maybe his friend needs some comfort and support here.
Yes.
Yeah. I was looking at your character keeper. You got a lot of checked elements going on there.
A little bit. Well said. Hot mess would be the appropriate
All right. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, I have to figure out a. I'm not sure which one would work in terms of an element. I'll just take wood again. So I imagine that you're just being a pain in the ass somehow as I try to treat your wound. Are you like belittling like that doesn't need any treatment?
No. Well,
How does
it's
he
gonna be
respond?
the typical wuxia, like, no, really, it's not that bad. It's fine. I'll be fine. You really don't have to go through all this effort. Um,
Stop fidgeting.
resistance is probably the best way to describe Yin's reaction response. Like, he's saying no, but he's not actually gonna try and stop Lei from healing him.
All right. Let's see what we got. Oh no, it's a 6.
Oh no.
Can I pop it somehow? Let me see. Do I have anything?
You can spend a bond to bump that to a 7.
I don't have no bonds.
Oh no.
I have a bond with Lei, but can I spend a bond on his role? Is that
You can't spend a bond to help. I don't think you can. Oh my goodness, I hope I'm not messing that up, but I don't think you can spend a bond to improve another person's role. You can do comfort and support to give them a bond that they then spend.
Wait, if the player character has a bond with someone else, the player character can spend that bond to give the other person a +1 to the other person's role.
Oh, so can you? What?
Yeah, usually you can do it, but as long as there's a plausible mechanism that you're helping.
Which we both know herbs, so
sure.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fine.
Maybe you correct him.
Correct me a mistake. I pulled the wrong bottle down.
I don't think it's a correction. I think we actually might even get like a pleasant little flashback to the two of them in the valley of the Medicine King, which is where the House of Venom is situated. As they were, for like a whole summer, Lei Zhelan might have spent studying herbs and herbalism with the House of Venom, and the two of them going about and going through baskets of herbs and checking things out. It's slipping back into an old form. Even though Yin is injured, he can still be doing the mortar and pestle while Lei runs things through like a bread roller or a sieve, something. And it's just teamwork to make some poultice. Anti-burn cream.
Anti-burn cream.
So if you want to spend a bond there, Yin Tiankong, there's no reason why you can't then get to a 7 Lei Zhelan and narrate a mixed success from there.
Okay, so I may choose. Oh no, on a hit, you lift them up. They may choose. So it's the fellow C that chooses to either give you a bond or declare an element.
I've got to clear an element. I'd have
Definitely.
to.
That was the intent behind it all.
I think I'm going to unmark. We'll unmark metal. I need to get him a little back under control.
And I think as Lei Zhelan is treating your wounds, he says, "This is a rude welcome to the city for you, my friend. You must be careful here of getting mixed up in the wrong sorts of business. Tensions are high in the city right now, particularly around the heirs and the succession to the throne. There's danger, and I worry for you.
And Tiankong smiles and nods. Honestly, I find the physical dangers slightly thrilling. It's a change of pace from the sleepy valley that you met me in last when we last met.
My friend, you've changed. I didn't know you were a...
So to be honest, all I want is to be back in the valley, and when I'm in the valley, all I want is to be back in the danger. It seems I will never be satisfied. But what I wasn't prepared for. No, I shouldn't speak of that.
But we are old friends. Here, in a darkened shop, after you almost lost your life in a fire. Surely we can speak of things.
I had the reputation of my house challenged tonight. And it's not that. I'm quite used to that. I'll never stop dealing with that. But it was from a person that I was hoping would understand. And all I learned is that my master was correct, that people from the city will never understand us, and they never can, and they never will.
Well, with Purple Viper. But in this case, maybe some truth to his...
So, to that end, I will do my job. I will heal the sick.
Sorry, I think my connection might have dropped there for a second. Sorry about that.
Dropped
It
for a
did, yeah.
second.
But it seems we are recording again. So, yeah, I will do my job. I will heal the sick. I will tend to the needy, and I will do my best to stay out of politics.
Heal their bodies. Rubs a little more poultice on your forehead. But do not feel that you must loves, for that matter. And he says that with a bit of a wink.
We'll smile and laugh and thank Lei Zhelan for their advice and just listen to the rain for a while.
Okay, we could end there.
Sure. So then this would take us over to, I think, Golden Twilight, as you to go with Copper Moon over to...
Oops.
I'm sorry, did I drop again?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Can everyone hear me okay?
You're cutting
you
a little bit
stroked
in
a
and
little.
out.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Golden Twilight, I think it's over to you at this point.
Okay. So we go finding Meng Lin.
Okay.
I know where they're staying. If Copper Moon doesn't.
Yeah, they would simply be at the Meng compound. It's pouring rain, starting to thunder. Well, I mean, it's continuing to thunder, but starting to thunder more. Um, and Yeah, I think that when you arrive, I mean, it's late enough at night that they're not really expecting visitors. Um, do you want to let Copper Moon take the lead on this one, or are you
I
going to be sort of giving the introductions here?
No, I absolutely will let him take the lead. I'm going to step in only if someone if he gives offense or makes a faux pas.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so then,
In
you
fact,
know, are you,
I'm in classic wuxia fashion. You know, you can't really tell who I am. You know, I've got my cloak wrapped around me, and you know, I'm kind of standing in his standing, you know, standing a little behind him and to one side, and acting for all the world as like an attendant.
right. Okay, no, that makes good sense then. So, what'll happen then is, I'm thinking that Copper Moon will uh sort of also be disguising himself on some level. But he will say that Meng should be expecting him, and then I think you are shown in after the servant goes to wake Meng. She's been sleeping, but as she enters and Copper Moon and she meet, I think you can see that there is this locking of eyes between them, and there's this instant sort of loving connection between the two of them. Is there anything that you want to make sure that you do throughout all of this? Otherwise, there's going to be sort of a scene of reconnection or an embrace or some kind of, oh my goodness, it's been so long, my love, I haven't seen you in all this time. You know, that sort of thing is going to play out between the two of them.
I'm uh politely not noticing, you know, what they're saying to each other, and I'm looking for trouble.
And looking for trouble. Okay. And
No, so yeah, no, I mean, you know, yes, I am. I do not desire to overhear details of their love conversation, so I I have the practiced art of you know, turning a deaf ear when necessary.
okay, got it.
Instead, my attention is focused on the Copper Moon's not going to be paying any attention to what's going on here. And if someone's trying to prevent his getting together with Meng Lin, I'm worried. And so I'm going to be I'm going to be keeping an eye on the street
Hmm.
for anything that might suddenly happen.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's you know, I don't think we were followed here, but in this weather, it's very difficult to tell.
Sure. Um, so then,
But you
you
know,
know,
it would be very wuxia for a terrible thing to happen.
oh, for sure. Um, Let me go pause there and see, you know, Lei Zhelan, Yin Tiankong, what are you folks planning on doing for the rest of this night?
Yin needs to find someplace new to sleep. Um,
You
I
are perfectly welcome at the Meng compound.
then I think that was kind of what I was thinking as well. Is he might have to go and stay on their guest room for the night. So that would definitely put him back in the direction of the Meng compound.
Now, here's a moment. What do you tell Lei if you're going to go in that direction?
Oh shoot. Oh no. Oh no.
So, where will you stay, my friend?
Oh gosh.
I never liked that inn, anyways, as you know, so I don't mourn its passing. But it's late to find a new inn for your, and were all your things burned?
They did, yeah. Oh gosh, Yin has to think a lot faster than his player can. Um,
Where can we set you? Palace.
I'm
I'm
not
sure we could
sure.
find some. I'm sure my friend Quick Creek could find a room for you to settle into too, unless there's some other place that you know of.
Get a standing invitation from Golden Twilight.
Lei Zhelan is enjoying this just a little bit because he actually knows.
Yeah,
His friend is trying to hide something from him.
Oh gosh, I wonder. I think Yin's just caught in a bind here, and he can't go to the Ming compounds. Not without just lying. Actually, let's leave it up to inner conflict because this is definitely going to spike it.
Yeah.
We'll see if it. We'll just see if anything
Roll
interesting happens
decide.
here. Yeah.
Sure.
So we will roll with anything control. It's gotta be control. I unmarked metal for a reason. So here we go. Names. No, oh come on.
Well, 2 more XP.
That's you get 2 more XP for it. That's the second 5 you've rolled in on a
Cooking on the XP.
This
But-
dice roller has it
cruel.
it has it out for me.
Ninth Raven's not here, so someone has to be the
Someone has to-
Oh my
lightning
God.
rod of bad rolls.
Well, that's an advance. I'll figure out what I want to do with that later. Other than possibly increase my metal. GM, do you have any idea how it could get worse from here?
Well, what do you think you want to actually say to Lei Zhelan? Are you still committed to going to the Meng compound, or
I was gonna not, because they're not gonna need Yin Tiankong to report until morning. So I was fully willing to let Lei, just say, yeah, we'll go to the palace. We'll get you set up, in a spare room there. That would have been the easy thing to do.
sure?
Failing the conflict roll suggests that you lose it a little bit or a lot.
Yeah. Maybe Yin Tiankong sees, like, down the street, like, if the prince came from the palace, would there be like a retinue outside? Something that indicates that the prince is making an official visit to the Meng compound? Because I think that might panic Yin a little bit after he just got attacked by somebody who he doesn't know the allegiance to and might possibly be Copper Moon.
Well, I was gonna say
I-
Golden Twilight. Well, I don't know that you had a big retinue, did you? Or was
No,
it...
absolutely not a big retinue because this is a clandestine lovers thing.
Right,
The
right.
most there would have been is a bodyguard.
Bodyguard.
Oh gosh.
So there might be you might have noticed a large surly looking fellow. Someone of incredible discretion. And deep suspicion.
No, I don't know if you would notice or mark that as odd. But yeah, the easy thing would be to accept Lei's invitation and go to the palace.
Or do you do
But
something
the bad roll
drastic like
doesn't
the bad roll suggests that
something bad.
you flee or you make an obvious and blatant lie to Lei and
that's gotta be it. Is Yin is just, he's such a gosh darn sweetie that he's just really bad at lying. And he says something that just gives the game away and is like,
I will find another room or something.
Yeah. No. I don't. I would be absolutely unwelcome in the palace. the House of Venom is still particularly not in the greatest of graces, other than the social call that we made to the second wife, the second queen. I and oh gosh, the phrase that entered my head I now have to say is, we'll actually just say, like, I have some friends that are willing to put me up here in the district. God, even just saying that, like, as a player, I'm like, wow, all right. Way to just stab Lei in the back, but I think
In the front.
yeah. Oh no, never mind our old friendship. I'm gonna go stay with these other people that are offering, that are definitely not the Meng family, but I just called them my friends. But I think Yin catches himself halfway through saying it and has to finish the sentence and just like chokes.
So I can
So
respond to
yeah,
that,
yeah.
but I think David, you should. I don't know if there's a hard move here that you want to make, or
Yeah.
anything that you want to do before I.
Well, I think one's definitely coming. You're having this conversation kind of just in the street, as I understand it.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Just down the street from the Meng estate or whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay, and Lei Zhelan, how do you said you had a response ready to go though? What was that?
No, I don't have one. I can
Oh,
make
you
one
don't.
up though. I'm ready. But I didn't want. But if there was something bad going to happen, we could just I could just roll with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to do your hard move for you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, I think that. Oh my gosh. Let's do this then. Golden Twilight, you're kind of like scanning around looking for trouble.
Yes.
While this heartwarming reunion happens. There is a yeah, there is a figure outdoors. You can see a silhouetted figure beneath a sliver of moonlight that's made its way through the storm clouds, kind of back against one of the walls that encloses the compound. If this compound has 4 stone walls and then the buildings within, up against one of the walls, you have seen a figure drop down with a sort of martial precision. Someone has snuck in.
Yes.
And Copper Moon and Meng don't notice, given that they are in each other's embrace.
I in classic, wuxia movie fashion, I can't simply warn them, because their sudden reaction would tip off the attacker, right?
Right.
And so I am going to position myself under the eave of the courtyard, so that I can actually intercept this person before they can make their move.
Okay.
So I'm going to wait to ambush them.
Okay. That seems reasonable. So we're setting up an ambush. How does this sound to you? If you manage to make an overcome roll, you'll get the drop on them. And we can say that that's treated as if you're dueling them above and you're above their scale.
Sounds good.
I think that seems okay. What would you like to roll with?
I think creativity is called for here. I'm kind of
Okay.
making it up on the spot. With whatever it is that I happen to bring with me. I don't have my entire silver willow rig. So I'm having to improvise.
Okay.
I have an 8.
Okay. So we're seeing success with a complication. I want to cut back to Yin Tiankong and Lei Zhelan here just for a moment. Yeah, okay. I'm just looking at the entanglements map here. Lei Zhelan, let's go ahead with the response that you were thinking of doing.
Oh, I was thinking of improvising. I think,
okay. Sorry, I thought you had one ready to go.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine to give it a shot. The one thing that comes up for me is that blind beggar woman across the street from the main compound.
Yes.
She's been begging. You know, she says things, but what she says is always a code and she says whatever alms for the poor, whatever it might be. I don't know what beggars in Yuanshan say. But as Lei is seeing his friend kind of sputter, spin out, he hears what the beggar woman is chanting now, and realizes that that folks have come, that Copper Moon has come, because that's exactly what he was on the lookout for. And so I'm trying to think what goes through Lei's mind now. Would this be inner conflict for me? Wait a second, I have to check my entanglements. No, these aren't related to these entanglements. But I think I know we're always supposed to be indirect in this game. I think Lei Zhelan is going to say, enough, my friend. I know about the girl, the Meng girl. It's fine that you are treating her. But something is amiss in the compound right now. We must go and find out. The girl is, you have noticed the mark of the azure dragon that she wears around her neck. She's a lightning rod for karmic forces. I know you do not believe in such things. She may be an innocent, but the things that she does have great import. But I cannot see you torture yourself around this anymore. I bear no malice towards the girl. I'm only trying to do what's best for our people and our countries and our provinces.
Then you have to understand why I cannot let you enter that compound. It is not a question of malice. It's you have always done what you thought was right for the kingdom, and I admire that. But if it comes down to the question of one person living, one that I have sworn to protect and aid, I cannot go back on that oath. It's sounding like hearts and minds from somebody.
Something, one or two. We're locking horns here. Or is this some kind of? No, I don't think we're dueling necessarily. But what are we doing mechanically?
Could be a social duel, kind of.
You can treat it as a PC versus PC social duel if you want. Alternatively, you could Hearts and Minds it, just whichever move you feel fits what you'd like to see happen better. I think it's up to you folks.
Yeah, part of me wants to respond, continue the role play, but part of me wants to like do the mechanics first. Do you have a sense from which way to go, Kevin?
I really don't. I'm still relatively new to the system. There is an option for Hearts and Minds on PCs,
Yep.
and so I think that is probably the better way to go here.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Because I think you can make an argument that will touch Yin Tiankong's heart. And so, yeah, the option is there for they may mark XP if they do as you ask. And so, if you ask to be let him stand aside, or for Yin to stand inside, or to even join you and both of you go in.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yes. I think so. It would be me, Hearts and Minding you. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
That's also the one that moves us forward if we succeed. So that's probably the better one.
All right. Hearts and Minds, PCs.
Pick an element.
And do I pick an element?
Yep.
Yeah, I do pick an element. Let's see. Sorry. Element would be... I think I'm asking for flexibility here. We have different MOs, we have different agendas, and we're trying to find a compromise. So I'm going to go with water, and there's water all around us. So let's go ahead and do that. Where did I leave the roll? Or
that's a smart move because you're appealing to somebody who is water favored. Let's see if the dice roll agrees with you.
And oh no! It's very bad. It's a 4.
Blows up in your face.
How can it get worse? How can it get worse?
What did you say? Oh, it's easy. Maybe you said something that creates the thing that the idea that there's an ulterior motive. That in fact that you've been pretending to be friends.
Or that I have some ulterior motive with the girl.
Yes.
Yeah, or that you definitely intend to finish the job you started years ago.
Yes. I think that's an excellent idea to get.
Yep. I would also say, in addition to that, let's have you mark an element as well, Lei Zhelan.
Okay, well, I will mark water then. That's the one I used.
And then, yeah, Yin Tiankong just has to put his foot down and say, I cannot let you enter the main compound. And, like, is it going to come down to blows? I don't think it's lethal. If it does, it's gonna be, Wuxia hands, fists, and feet, not blades out.
Very well, my friend. Go in. Go now. I will be outside. If you need me, call. And I will be by your side.
And I don't know what exactly Yin does. I don't think he says anything in response, but I think there's definitely a look on his face that is just like the trust has been betrayed. And yeah, he'll go into the Ming compound.
Okay. So Golden Twilight, I actually kind of thought of a different way of doing this. You got a mixed success on the overcome move. I'm not gonna I'm inclined to say I'm not gonna make you roll a dual move. You can just drop this person if you want. You can just subdue them. but there would be a complication involved if you choose to do that.
I am going to do that, and I can think of lots of complications, so I'm happy to. So what happens is, as they are creeping up, a golden twilight reaches into her sleeves, and she produces a big firecracker, which she lights in one of the torches on the standing outside, and they have torches by the around the compound by the doorways, and she lights one of it, and it sparks gently, and then she waits a few seconds and she pitches it, and it just goes off in a chrysanthemum burst right next to him. And he throws up his hands. He's blinded. He's choking on smoke. And she throws her cloak over his head, and trips him, and holds him down long enough for anybody else to get there. Which would probably be Copper Moon if it isn't anyone, or the bodyguard or what have you.
Sure, no, that makes sense.
So she subdues him, and then at some point they're going to roll him over and have a look at him and see who he is, if anybody recognizes him, etc., etc.,
etc. Okay. So what I would say there is, yes, the successful part is you're able to drop this person. The complication is that you have successfully dropped the first assassin. It's about that time that more figures kind of begin to appear over the walls. First two, then two more, and then two more. And it appears that there's actually a pretty substantial troop of people that are coming over the walls, converging from all four sides upon this place where Copper Moon and Meng are. You have alarmed the two of them.
Yes.
By way of your firework.
Moon, we are under check. Prepare to defend yourself. And at this point, I go, I have to throw caution to the winds and pull out my hidden bow. Sure. And get ready for a real fight, which I've been trying to avoid.
Absolutely. Copper Moon is going to essentially hold Meng close to him with one arm, and with the other he is going to maybe from a wall pull a broadsword. You kind of a large flat blade with a bit of a curve to it. And that's when there's going to be this convergence of extras. And lackeys that all swarm upon the two of you.
And for Yin Tiankong's benefit, I'm going to send up an alarm arrow. So I'm going to fire an arrow that bursts into a firework over the compound. It's quite obviously a signal.
So Yin Tiankong, you have a choice here. You go straight there yourself, or do you leaving Lei Zhelan, or do you call for Lei Zhelan as well?
I feel like with the fictional positioning we've just set up, Yin Tiankong has to go alone.
Absolutely.
Because he can't trust Lei to, he doesn't even know these could be people on his side coming to kill her. It's kind of what he believes.
Golden Twilight, let's have you decide how you want to handle this here. I feel like a deal with troops makes sense.
This is a deal with troops, but it's it may be a holding action before Yin Tiankong comes, just for drama's sake.
Sure. Well, I was thinking maybe it would be, yeah, I suppose we can roll it after Yin Tiankong shows up. So,
yeah, if that works.
so Yin
he
Tiankong,
certainly gets to witness what's going on, and maybe participate. This is up to you, Ken.
Yeah, I mean, other than the alarm arrow, we would also just, the first thing that we would do is go check on our patient. So
Yes.
we're beelining right to where the action's happening.
Yes, well, you can the burst hanging in air illuminates the area around the compound beautifully, because it's like a slowly falling flare. And it's also just good cinematography, right? Just these shadows, going back and forth in the rain as the brilliant, phosphorus light falls. And so you see you see a young woman there who is pumping one arrow after another into this wave of cloaked swordsmen, who are trying to gain entrance into the compound. And they, the arrows are full of different effects. Some of them many of them, they mostly seem to be, it's one sort of gunpowder based burst or another, but some of them seem designed to knock down and stun, others to blind. And there are arrows on top of that. So it is quite a gorgeous display, albeit, also a gory one in that fashion.
I'd like to, if I could, I'd like to pop both of my study holds for a couple questions really quickly.
Okay.
Should be pretty simple. First is, are these troops related to the assassin that came for me? As in the same faction or same allegiance? And then the second question would be, is there an escape route, a secret room or passage that we could get out that's not the front door?
First one, their garb is very similar. Yeah, we can say that they're the same faction. And then the second one, you could just reveal a detail saying that there is another way out if you so chose.
Oh, then yeah, I think we'll go ahead and say, I don't know why exactly the Meng family would have made Yin Tiankong privy to this. Actually, maybe they don't. Maybe it's Meng Lin who actually has just enough strength to like pull on a wall ornament, and the bookcase goes to the side or something and opens a door leading to an escape passage. Gosh, wouldn't have that been nice for clandestine romantic gatherings?
But lovers are fools.
Yeah, they are. Also, Copper Moon might not have known about that. They had years to install that thing. But yeah, if that's the case, then our goal now is to get Copper Moon and this other stranger and our patients to the doorway. We're gonna fight our way through troops, I think.
Right. Okay. So I'll make a roll.
Yeah, I was gonna say Golden Twilight. You're gonna have a deal with troops roll if you'd like to be the one to make it. Sure.
Yep. So I'm rolling style, which is fire. And that's what I'm doing.
You get style points with that too.
13.
So you easily defeat them and describe how you do so.
I'm going to say for drama's sake that defeat them means hold them off, because there are so many of them that they cannot really be defeated in a small fashion. But they're forced to wait for reinforcements, and that gives us the opportunity to use the escape tunnel because it's more fun. Yeah, the fireworks stun and deafen them enough to pick them off with arrows. Yin, if you'll permit me the detail, as you rush forward towards the compound, an arrow whizzes over, 3 inches over your shoulder, straight into the torso of someone who's about to cut you down from behind. And you manage to get there. And you find describe the secret passageway.
Before I do,
Can I jump in?
wanted to...
Yeah, I was going to say, Lei Zhelan, was there something you wanted to jump in on?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think so Lei is on the street outside the compound, and I believe there's like, I imagine there's like a wall to the on either side. So two things. One thing is he's just made this promise to his friend to not enter without being called. So I think there's an inner conflict role there for me about whether I'm actually going to go in anyways now that the shit's hitting the fan and I see these hooded figures along the top of the wall, maybe tossing knives or something. So there's the folks inside with the swords, and then there's these other folks on the edge of the garden wall. So I think I'd like to roll an inner conflict here to see what if I can hold my shit together enough to act. And I will do that as quickly as I can. Let me just pick an element. It can't be my style element. I'll do earth. So +2. Let's see what happens. So it's an 8 on
Let's mark an element or flee.
So an inner conflict. I'll try to mark an element. Okay, so I'll go ahead and mark which is the one that I did, earth, right? So I mark earth. Oh, now I've got 3 elements marked. Oh, and I also get an XP, right? Just for rolling it.
Yeah, looks like it.
So I think what we see is Lei Zhelan is I imagine there are these large trees that are lining the street. And the trees have these kind of hard fruit that are like maybe so big that are kind of hard, like a coconut is hard, not the husk, but the like a shell that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so I imagine Lei Zhelan is air stepping up into the trees and then grabbing these strange fruit and beaming all the sharpshooters up on the top of the wall of the garden wall, just to try to protect his friend from getting skewered by some of them. He doesn't know who else is there, actually. He doesn't know who these people are, actually. So I imagine kind of a swinging, because he's got this kind of supple bamboo style that's kind of allowing him to move through the branches, almost a swinging kind of monkey kind of style, and tossing these hard fruit. And I can make a roll for that if you want. Or we can just add it to the dealing with troops that we've already got underway. I'm just trying to assist.
Can I have you make a deal with troops roll yourself?
Okay, I will do that. and it'll be my style element.
Yeah, let's try that.
And well, it's a 7.
Okay.
So on a 7 with deal with troops, on a hit you defeat them. 10 plus you do so easily. And on a miss, their numbers overwhelm. So what is the difference between it? Oh, easily, the adverb.
Yeah, it's just how cool you look doing it by the sounds of it.
I think it's just the adverb there. So maybe I miss a couple, and I miss a branch or something, and so I don't look quite as cool as I should, and I almost fall out of the tree. Because I think I am trying to hold it steady with worry for my friend who is a country bumpkin caught in crazy machinations behind the wall.
Sure.
But I do land a few good coconuts to the head on these people.
Yeah, making sense. So I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna narrate something here for a minute.
Right.
You're able to get past these people without too much difficulty. You know, it takes a little bit of pushing and pulling here and there, but by and large, they're all taken care of. One of them sort of falls into you, and their I guess head covering, you know, whatever disguise they have, essentially falls off as they are stunned into this delirious, semi-conscious state. Okay, and it's a reveal. As you look down at their face, they fall kind of against you. One of them is Huangjia. Lady Orchid whispers seamstress, and a member of your very own Silken Thread. She looks up at you, and it only occurs to her now that you're right next to each other that it's you she's been fighting against this whole time. Oh, Lei Zhelan, she says. Meng, you have to finish her for the Silken Thread. Go. And then she lapses into unconsciousness.
Unconscious.
Yes.
Can I add a detail that there's one of Yin Tiankong's needles is sticking out of her neck? Paralytic poison.
Oh, sure.
That's cool.
Meanwhile,
Yeah, do we want to go to Golden Twilight here?
well, there's a thing happens between me and Yin Tiankong. You know, the Copper Moon and Mang are, you know, urged away to safety. You know, kind of, you know, pushed ahead in the passageway. And when you Yin, when you came out, it occurs to you, and when this occurs to you is up to you. It occurs to you that the person that you saw fighting all the troops is Silver Willow, unquestionably.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just as, however, you know, things are full of adrenaline and you're making your way, and as we come out the other end of the passageway, you know, in a safe spot, before Copper Moon and speak, Golden Twilight turns to you, Ian, and she puts a finger to her lips. And you hear her speak in her usual cultured accent, and you realize it's Golden Twilight.
good information, but you'll definitely see like Yin register it, understands the alter ego, and then when the call for quiet is given, um he'll just give like a quick nod and then go to,
Like you go to
yeah,
Meng and I go to Moon and I say,
it's not safe here.
no, we have to go back. The palace is the only place that's safe. Please, we must return there. Will you be my guest this time? Good doctor. I beg you, for the safety of your patient.
Gosh, is that hearts and minds?
Yes, if you want me, I'll do it.
I mean, he doesn't have a place to stay, so it's a very compelling argument.
They were. I do not believe they were coming for Copper Moon.
Yeah. If Golden Twilight has that power, then yeah, we'll accept lodging in the palace.
The guards will be surprised to see us at this hour. But accommodations will be made, she says, with the absolute certainty of royalty. And your robe is ruined, she says.
Yes.
We will find you other clothes as well.
It's been quite an exciting day so far.
Can I jump in here? Well, I'll let you guys finish, and then I have one last
absolutely.
detail. Well, I was going to say I'll let you guys do your thing, and then I'll jump in with one last detail before we wrap up the session.
Golden Twilight looks at you and she says, out of earshot of the other two, please forgive my unintended insult earlier. It was the last thing I wanted to do.
We all have our own images that we have to overcome. Some of them.
Nevertheless.
Some of our worst enemies are the ones that stare at us in the mirror.
They are. I am very glad that I was there when this happened. As otherwise they would have been both. I fear they would both be dead. And my heart broken as well as yours. So
we should go.
Yes. You over here, Captain. Meng Lin, come over here. Yes. The doctor and his patient are to be housed in the third wing. They can use the purple rooms. And new clothing, please, for both of them. I also want 3 guards outside their door. Please.
Right away.
Thank you for accepting our hospitality. I'll see you in the morning.
I'll jump in here with a quick question before we just about get things wrapped up. Lei Zhelan, how do we close out the scene for you? Do you follow, or do you go elsewhere? What do you do as we kind of begin to wrap things up here?
Well, I think we have that dramatic scene of the unveiling of unmasking of one of the assailants, and it being the seamstress. And I think Lei Zhelan is shocked by that, because he did not know anything about this attack, and he doesn't take orders from this particular agent. But as he looks into the courtyard, he sees that that his friend and the girl and Copper Moon and Golden Twilight have disappeared. Maybe he didn't even actually see them all, but they were all gone. I'm not sure how much he actually saw. But he's like just swinging on a branch there, looking introspective. Yes, just thinking what's just happened, but relieved that at least his friend has made it to safety. And I think that's where we can leave it. I don't think he's going to run off to try to like follow them through the tunnel or anything like that. Or there's nothing, no big action. I think he's going to take just this moment of disbelief and dismay at what's going on.
Got it. So I'm gonna end on a detail here.
Okay.
Yin Tiankong. The four of you, Golden Twilight, Yin Tiankong, Copper Moon, Meng, the four of you were going to begin to part ways. Yourself and Meng to be sequestered in the hospital area per Golden Twilight's orders. Golden Twilight and Copper Moon will make their separate exits to whichever wings of the palace they choose to inhabit as we close the night out. But as everyone takes their separate exits, you catch a glimpse of Copper Moon looking at you over his shoulder. And you see a very peculiar kind of look in his eyes. And it's a very familiar one. It takes maybe a moment before it clicks, but it's completely impossible to mistake. He's giving you the same look that he gave you when he knocked a lantern over in your room just an hour or so before. Before he threw a throwing dagger right past your head. There's no question that you fought and almost accidentally killed Copper Moon after he made an attempt on your life. And now you are to stay in his palace and have sweet dreams alongside Meng and the others. And we'll close out there, if that works for everybody.
Marvelous.
All right, good deal. I will close the recording out here.